Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this is going to be a Diablo 4 video with my top 15 tips and tricks for Diablo 4. We are finally here. We are super close to launch, and it's time for the game to be available publicly, globally, to all of those who have purchased the game, and we will have a full release coming soon. So I wanted to share some of my most important thoughts on the game and things that you should know if you're embarking on your Diablo 4 journey. I've probably got about 500 hours total in playing and theory crafting and discussing in Diablo 4. So I've got some things that I want to share with you in this video for you to take advantage of. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so the game's only been out for a couple days. I've got a level 73 and 2 others over level 50. I'm going to be playing like 12 hours a day. So remember to subscribe down below, and I'll always make sure that you are in the loop of all of the current metas and tricks and XP farming spots and all of that. And make sure you watch till the end of this video, because at the end, I'm going to put a bow on this video about showcasing the best spot for you to farm XP currently as we know it in the game. And this is changing pretty often because Blizzard is moving fast on how they are patching things and releasing hot fixes and all of that. So as we dive into all of the tips and tricks that I want to talk about in this video, first, the hot topic leading up to the release of the early version and after all of the betas and everything was which world tier you should be playing on. Now, this isn't really going to be a massive deal. If you're solo, I would probably do world tier 1 until you finish the campaign, and then bump it up to world tier 2 if you're ready to start doing like the tree of whispers, and you want to get into world tier 3 as fast as possible, because this will be your first like bottleneck and hard check on progression. Basically, getting to level 50 with the campaign finished is the first goal. So whatever you can do to get those two things done, that is kind of the rush. And then you'll move into the world tier 3 where you start getting the sacred gear, and then in world tier 4 you will start getting the ancestral gear and the new unique items. So you want to definitely rush up your XP and rush into getting to world tier 4, getting to level 70 world tier 4 as fast as possible. But again, when I say as fast as possible, I do want you to have fun and enjoy the game. You got to remember that I've been in like the testing phases of the game. I've already played through the campaign many times. So I always get this comment on my videos about like, why are you telling people to rush through the game, that they should be enjoying it and having fun? And I absolutely agree with that. It's just the thing is I've already done that. So now I want to move in to showcasing some of the things that you should take note of once you've already done that. But you should absolutely. We only get a Diablo release every 10 years or so. So have fun with it. Don't feel like you got to be pressured to rush into world tier 4. I'm just saying, if you want to be efficient and you want to kind of get to the end game, these are the things you're going to kind of want to focus on, is getting level 70 and getting to world tier 4, where then you unlock all the stuff in the game and you can move into some of the other mechanics. So when it comes to grouping versus solo, I don't think it's really going to matter when you are first playing the game. One of the advantages to playing in a group, which is what I did when I played through the campaign, is that you do get a group XP bonus if you're with at least one other person. So maybe at least do duoing. You don't get more of a bonus for being with 4, which I think is a little bit lame, to be honest. I think you should get a scaling bonus, whether you're with 1 ally, 2 allies, or 3 allies in a full group of 4. But I understand I do want solo playing to be viable as well. So it's a tough line to walk, admittedly. You also want to make sure that you are drinking XP elixirs while you are on your grind. In Kyovashad, you can head straight down south, and the alchemist is going to be that little mixing bowl icon on your minimap, and you come down here and you want to head on over to craft elixirs, and whichever one lets you craft the most. Like you can see right here, there's like some cheap ones that are level 4 that I can craft a few of, and you want to pay attention to the level requirement, because sometimes if you want to give them to a friend or something, you can drop these elixirs for each other. So you want to keep this active for your whole party. It's an XP bonus of 5%, and it's just flat for 30 minutes. So if you're in a group, you want to do a good job of reminding each other, maybe syncing up your elixirs and then drinking them every 30 minutes or so. You can share some of these XP elixirs with each other to make sure you're leveling as efficient as possible. So that's the 2 XP bonuses you can get: grouping, and then also making sure to stay current on drinking an XP elixir every 30 minutes. Also, while we are at the alchemist, the first bottleneck you're probably going to run into, a lot of players do this, and I actually did a dedicated video here on the channel about this material. When you're upgrading your potions, you're gonna get stuck when you're trying to transition to the level 30 potion. You're gonna need these crushed beast bones, and they're actually decently rare. Now they can drop in sellers, so if you're gonna get bottlenecked in your potion, you don't have any of these, you just check your currency tab, you tab on over to the plants and stuff, and then you go down and you can get to these crushed beast bones. And you want to see, I think it takes 7 of them to upgrade to the level 30 potion. So you do want to make sure you're killing like the bears and the werewolves and those type of beast fur type champions that you see out in the open world, maybe clearing cellars and stuff until all of you make sure you have 7 crushed beast bones. So you make sure you keep upgrading your potion accordingly, because it is a big source of sustain while you're playing. And while we're here doing tips and tricks, I do also want to dive into the options and talk about a couple of the most noteworthy things you're definitely going to want to do. A lot of people like to turn up their cursor scale to large because sometimes the map can get kind of crazy and it makes it a little bit easier to see what you're doing. Now, also, the most important setting in the game to make sure that you enable is going to be advanced tooltip information and advanced tooltip compare. And the reason this is so important is because it is going to give you the ranges. So you see right here on these pants that I'm wearing, I have got basic skills grant 20% damage reduction for 5.5 seconds. And then I get that range. That's from the advanced tooltip that I enabled in settings. So damage reduction for 5.5 seconds, is that good or bad? You're not gonna know if you're a new player. But now you will know if that's a good roll, because I see the range is 2.0 to 6.0. So 5.5 is really close to 6.0. And now I know that's a really good roll and an aspect that I would probably want to keep on my account. So that's some of the settings that you definitely want to watch out for. And because it's so important, I actually have a dedicated video here on the channel as well, talking about some of the most important settings to take note of. But just for a quick hitter, that's some of the stuff you really want to take note of. Then as far as altars of Lilith are concerned, okay, so this is going to be a little bit complicated, a little bit annoying if you don't take the time to manage it properly. There are 160 altars of Lilith, and I would recommend heading over to an interactive map like d4builds.gg, and it will let you track. You can tick these on and off, so you can click on them and they go from white to gray, so you can tick them if you have found them on the map, and it will show you your current progress. And then at the end, when you have like for me, I ended up in a spot where I had like 130 out of 160 altars, and then I had to like spend an hour going back and looking at the map and looking at my monitor and trying to cross-reference, reverse engineer which altar I needed to go pursue, and it would have been a lot easier if I just did this from the start. So I would I know it's going to seem annoying, it's going to take you like an extra 5 or 10 seconds every altar, but if you really want to be diligent about getting your altars as soon as possible, I would just bite the bullet and make sure you're tracking your progress on the altars and then coming back to redo them and finish all 160 at some point. And what this is going to do is help you with your renown. Now, I do want to talk about something in relation to renown. You can really chill on this after level 3. You do want to definitely get the first 3 check marks on every single area in the game eventually. But after that, I would really focus on getting XP, getting up to level 70 as fast as possible, getting your build functioning properly. And then you are eventually going to want to really get this renown, because you get so many paragon points by doing it in every area. But rush to level 3 renown in every area and then chill on it a little bit and focus on XP and getting yourself stronger. And when you're playing, you're going to be filling up pretty often. A little bit down the road, you're going to have inventories full of yellows and all of that. So a quick way to go through your yellows when you are trying to sell is you want to look at like your average item power. And you want to see like, okay, so right now I'm at like 800, 740, 650. So you can look at like, for me to put on an upgrade, it's probably going to be at least 700 item power. So what I can do is for a lot of these items, I can just go through and look like 782. That's one I would want to read further. 734 I can sell, 764 read it, 738, 705, and you can kind of go through the item powers really quick. I already kind of filtered this and got rid of ones that weren't at least that, and you can kind of quickly scan like 658. That's an instant sell. So when you're selling your yellows, you can kind of quickly scan them instead of having to sit here and take 5 minutes to read every single item. And speaking of that, you do always want to make sure you're selling a decent amount of items, because gold will be a bottleneck for you for a while. You always want to make sure you're keeping about 1 to 2 million gold or even more, because it does end up costing a lot later in the game. When you're trying to get your builds set up, you're gonna need a decent amount of gold. So think about selling a lot of those yellows and making sure to salvage the legendaries you don't want, because you will get bottlenecked on gold. And another thing that a lot of people get hung up on is the mount. When am I gonna get my damn mount? I'm in Act 3, I don't have my mount yet. You will get it, just make sure you're focusing on those main quests. It ends up being a quest with Donan in it, and you will get this in Act 4, towards the beginning of Act 4, and that's when you can acquire your mount. So if you haven't gotten this by Act 2, Act 3, and you're like, where is my mount? It's coming. Just make sure you're focusing on the main story and paying attention to your quests, and you will get this at the beginning around Act 4. But also, really quickly, before I move on from some of the item type stuff in game, a lot of times you'll be playing and you will see a legendary star on the minimap while you're playing. It'll be like in the dungeon, you'll see an orange star. That means there's a legendary on the map. You don't have to take 3 minutes to run out of your way to go get some legendary that drops somewhere where your ally is killing stuff. It will automatically get sent to your stash if you leave that area and you don't pick it up. And when you click here, there will be a section over here on the left where it says like unclaimed legendaries, and you have to do this every so often though, because it only holds like a max of 10. So you can't just farm for like many hours and get 25 legendaries and never pick them up. You do have to eventually clear that out, because it will only hold 10 for you. But it is a nice fail safe to not feel like you have to run way out of your way to get a legendary that dropped. Also, once you have already finished the campaign, you can get a lot more storage space by using mules. Any of you Diablo 2 players in the chat will know exactly what I'm talking about. You can simply create a class right here, and it doesn't matter, just pick a class and then finalize and name it like mule. And what you can do after you've finished the campaign is right here, you check this box, skip campaign. And now when I start the game, I'm going to be able to go access my stash, which is shared around all of my heroes. And then I can just go to it and fill up my inventory with whatever I want. You can save a bunch of aspects. If you've got like max roll aspects that you don't want to just throw on the ground and you're running out of space, no problem. I don't even have to walk to Kyovashad. I just create a new character and I'm right here at my stash within seconds. And I can go in here and I can fill up my inventory right here by a bunch of aspects that I want to be able to store. And now I just cleaned up a bunch of stash space very quickly within seconds. So if you're only going to be playing 1 or 2 characters, well, why not take advantage of the extra kind of pseudo storage space that you can get from a mule character after you've finished the campaign, and you can make this happen within a few seconds. I also want to mention a quick thought about some of the Nightmare Sigil dungeon type stuff. So the Nightmare Sigils are going to be used to run some of the end game dungeons. They're going to be under consumables, and you see where it says tier 13, you're going to transform a dungeon into a nightmare dungeon. That's what the sigils are going to do for you. Then you run those nightmare dungeons, and at the end you will get an opportunity to upgrade some of the glyphs that are in your Paragon board. So if you played Diablo 3, this is a little bit similar to the legendary gem mechanic, where legendary gems would drop within a greater rift, and then at the end of the greater rift, after you killed the Rift Guardian, something would pop up, an opportunity for you to upgrade your legendary gems. And this nightmare dungeon sigil mechanic is kind of similar. You're going to drop these glyphs and then you can upgrade them at the end of a nightmare dungeon. But my tip for you is I want you to hold off a little bit on doing those sigil nightmare dungeons, because the higher you go, the way more you can upgrade your glyphs. So get yourself strong first. Get to like level 70, level 80, when the XP is a lot quicker, when it really slows down at level 75, 80, then go in and start doing your nightmare dungeons and start leveling up these glyphs, because you'll be able to do a lot higher tier of nightmare dungeon, and you'll progress a lot faster and a lot more efficient on leveling up your glyphs than if you did them like right away, when you can only do tier 1 nightmare dungeons. And shout out to you if you stayed all the way till the end. I really appreciate you. And now we are going to talk about the best spot to farm XP currently in the game, in my opinion, and that is going to be this dungeon called Champion's Demise. Now, this is going to be located straight to the southwest of your main town in Kyovashad. Head on down here, Champion's Demise. So right there from the Kyovashad waypoint, southwest, and boom, Champion's Demise. Now, I did a dedicated video on my channel covering this because it is such an amazing spot to farm. And the reason is on the map that pops up, this is what the dungeon is going to look like when you are clearing it. Let me get my pen out so I can draw for you. So just really quickly to showcase this for you, when you start Champion's Demise, you're gonna spawn somewhere like this. You're gonna head on over to the left and you'll come to a middle section right here. Now you don't even have to complete the dungeon. All you have to do is farm these 3 lanes and then reset. And what makes this so good is you can split farm it. If you're with 3 people, you can all pick your lane and then simply leave party. You'll spawn at the end of the door, reset the dungeon, and head back on in. And you can grind this over and over. You can even power level somebody if they want to sit at the door and just reset the dungeon for you. Or you can play as a full group, send your 2 strongest people down their own lane and send your 2 weakest people down one lane to clear it together. And this is an insanely efficient way to ramp up and get to level 70 as fast as possible if you're prioritizing getting XP. So there we have it. Have fun with the global launch of Diablo 4. And also let me know down in the comments any tips or tricks that you think I should have mentioned in the video. It's always great when people can read through the comments and get input from other people as well, just to learn as many things as possible from one video. So I appreciate all of you. Good luck while your journey embarks on Diablo 4, and I will be covering the game for you on a daily basis here on the channel and grinding it as well. I'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.